Okay, everyone, good evening. Thank you for being here. Let's go ahead and get started. If you haven't signed in, I'll just circulate the signing report. Thank you.
Thanks.
I didn't have a nicer bag of food.
I want to stand up. She has one from
Any questions? I'm gonna have Doug start and then we'll go around the room.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Doug Chaplin. I'm an associate director with the city of Albuquerque, right here at the Gateway Center.
Natalie Vargas, President of South San Pedro.
Wally Book, I live in Parkland Hills.
Denise Rodriguez, Public Outreach Manager with the City of Albuquerque, Hospital Homelessness. Department Head Carchula Romero, Field Representative of Mayor's Office. Hi, everyone.
I'm Jennifer McDonald. I'm the Gateway Operations Officer.
Sandra Perea, Vice President of D6 Coalition and the President of the
I'm Edward Lopez, and I live in Parkland Hills.
Comstock, Parkland Hills Neighborhood Association, Parkland Village, a virtual village, with neighbors, to ancient place.
Chuck Holman at Trumbull Village, and I live here. Part of that
Good evening, Pete Coletto, Southeast Heights.
Mike Chowski, Northland Fairgrounds, Mark Twain neighborhood.
Ben Shanley, Mark Twain Neighborhood and District 7 Coalition.
Laura Keene, I'm the Senior Crime Prevention Specialist with TNPM.
Hello, Steve Martinez, Lieutenant Southeast Area Command, for Lieutenant Stevenson.
Thank you. Flora Heyman. Flora.
Hi, everybody. Flora Lisa. I'm the systems analyst for Gateway Systems. Good to be here with y'all.
Okay. If everyone has an agenda, we're just gonna remind everyone of the community rules for this meeting. I won't read them aloud, but we can go through. Just remember to be respectful and to respect the listener and the speaker. So tonight I want to introduce Denise. Denise works in the Department of Health, Housing, and Homelessness. And she does amazing work with the interaction team. And so you guys had some questions about how the street outreach team works. So Denise is going to share a little bit about her work and what she does and what she's going to do. And if you have any questions, you can also look up presentations. Okay, that's good. Okay,
good morning, or good afternoon, sorry, evening. You can hop in with the program for since about 2021. Started as a public outreach coordinator, support coordinator. I have a team of actual 4 and myself. Right now, we do have an expansion group that are assisting us with addressing some of these homeless problems and outdoor resources. I'm not sure exactly how deep you guys want me to get in this, how our day goes, or if you guys just want to give me questions that I can answer.
you want to start with what a typical day looks like for you?
Sure, absolutely. So normally in the morning, what we do is we do what we call proactives. So we go out in certain areas in the city every morning. Teams go out, they'll look for the encampments, and the first thing we do is make sure that everybody's okay. We do offer a wellness check. If anybody needs 911, we put medical out here. We wait for that response. It's engagement going with them. If they're out to just know that they're okay. Our next step would be to ask them if they would be interested in going to a shelter. If you can arrange the transportation to come out, if you want to go to a doctor. And at that point, it depends on their answer. Then if they say yes, then we can either tell them where the stops are for going up to the Gateway West, we tell them to ask them what the criteria, give the text, we tell them all the information. In the morning, I give my team the availabilities of the beds that are available. The Gateway West, because I do get a 4 AM head count and how many beds are available. So at that point, I know how many women's beds are available, I know how many men's beds are available, and I also know how many couples. So my teams go out with that information already. Okay, if they decide not to go to a shelter, okay, how about storage? And offer you some storage. You can hold your items for up to 14 days with no charge. I will get someone out there who wants to do it and park that up for you, hold it for you. To kind of use it if everything's a no, we do want to unfortunately follow the city rules pertaining to that area whenever they're in the town is. Okay, so then we provide a notice by you know, hey, so being that you said no to everything, we now have to proceed to this step, but we're gonna give you time to relocate. Okay, so before the trucks get out here, so we do work closely with solid waste. Okay, if they say yes to anything, then we make those connections with ACS or different agencies if we've got those contacts. The storage, I have people that will come out and get the storage, we bring the bids out ourselves. We keep it on site, we have it 14 days. It will extend it depending on the circumstances. We don't ever, I'm not gonna say ever, but chances are I'll hold it a little longer than 14 days because of the population we work with. They can't always get to a phone or they can't always meet the time frames that we have set or to pick up their items.
Did you say, are you done?
Yes, ma'am. I've done it. I'm looking at them.
Did you say you have 4 people working with you?
I have 4 people that are officially on my team. Right now I have 3. I have another one that's coming on, here shortly in the future, but we've been running this for, but we've been able to get an expansion group that has been helping us out with some of these because, you were short staffed for a little while.
So before you try to cover all of Albuquerque on a daily basis?
We would. Then we put it, we had to zone it out, if that was our easiest way to do that. So in addition to what we do, the proactives in the morning, we also have a 311 calls. So whatever 311 calls come in, we come in back later in the afternoon and the team comes out, they get there, they're all set to a certain zone. They have a good 311 calls in that area for that day or whatever, so they're site.
I asked Jennifer a couple of months ago if I could do a ride along. So are you the person to ask?
You can help me, but it's I think it's a liability thing just because like I can't even transport any of them. Okay, so just because we're alone and stuff like that, but I can definitely double check on that. I'll follow further above me. Okay, but you know, what was your, if you I'll just get your name and stuff later. Okay.
And how do you report your findings? Who do you report to?
Well, we, like I said, once we go out there, if we do the process, we just look for the ones that are existing. These are the ones that are existing and we only give the notices to the ones that are, I don't want to say breaking, but doing camping where they shouldn't, let's put it that way. You know, if they're blocking the sidewalk, if they're in the middle of the street, you know, not only are we providing safety to them, because honestly, they can get run over, it's a problem in a mountain. Your stuff is replaceable, you're not, okay, so, but you know, we can't have you here, and being that you said no to everything that you have to be honest with you, relocate. So it just kind of depends on what priority falls under and whatever.
How often are you in this area doing encampments? Every day? And how often are you seeing regulars?
Almost every day.
So when you're tracking the regulars and you know they're consistently doing this, do you still continue to ask them the same questions, even though you know that they're like, and I don't know if I'm saying that, like habitual, you know, offenders, they're still frequent flyers, if they're still doing that?
Well, we're on a first name basis with a lot of people. We really are because once they find a spot and they get kind of, I don't want to say cozy, but it's kind of what it is because they're used to that spot or there's something holding them there. And so we're used to, you know, I was just speaking about, I can't remember her name right off the top of my head right now, Valencia. But I talked to her several times because yes, out several times for her. her and her son are out there. But yes, we do still offer, it doesn't change because we still have a job to do. And one day they might say yes.
Do you know how many are actually receiving services at the gateway that are just maybe camping around it?
No, that number I
You don't
don't
know?
know, yeah, but I do refer a lot, but they'll say they'll wanna come here because the area, and it's more of these females here, they wanna come into this, so I usually refer them into the gateway, I'm gonna go for a hold and I will put them in here.
Okay, my last question, do you focus on schools? Like with the kids, the smaller children, to make sure there's no encampments by their schools?
We go by any school,
By
any
any
schools become a priority one, this one, like Ruth Wilson, we've been down from that one for a while. But and you notice when I first started as a public outreach coordinator, it was pretty bad around there. We go through it every day now, and so, I mean, I'm not saying it's gone away, but it has lessened up to from what it used to be. But we do get the parts, anything with the school, you know, those become an issue as well.
Yeah, my concern is if they're just getting too comfortable and it's like, when does it become an issue where our quality of life matters?
Right,
You know, and our kids matter.
no,
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, I thought that there was something in place for that. Like, hey, I see this person all the time. You know,
they're
yeah.
starting new protocols right now where, if it's the same person, we continue to deal with, or have to talk with and stuff like that, we'll make keeping better notes of who's where, okay? That's where we're going with this. We're trying to get better at this and keeping track of where's everybody. So it's still the same person, okay, now we'll probably need to get a little firmer. I don't wanna say we always call out APD, but we do on a occasion for some of these camps for individuals because we want them to move within a certain way. From where we just saw them. And that's why we're getting APD involved in this program and stuff like that. Because they're giving I think we're giving us CT at first because, you know, and then from there, it can't go.
Thank you so much for.
And
Go ahead.
yes. So, how do we get in touch with you if we have somebody camping on the street? What's the phone number?
I do have my city cell phone number. It's 505-376-2304.
3304?
2304.
12304?
Yes, but we go by 311s mostly. Okay.
So call 311 first.
Yeah, and then from there, what we do is, like I said, we go by mostly by the way it was received. Depending though, if we look at it, we'll do, you know, it depends, we'll kind of look at what their inscription is.
Yeah.
And then we kind of gauge it from there, because sometimes we might have to hit one a little bit before someone else's call.
Okay,
Just
so,
because,
so are you with ACS?
no,
No,
I'm with Health, Housing and Homelessness.
What number?
Health, Housing and Homeless, AAA.
Oh, HHH.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. And your first name?
Denise.
Denise?
Mhm.
And so you're saying if we have encampments on our street, they can call you and or call 311 first.
Right.
And if they don't respond, then what, an hour or two?
No, that it doesn't come that quickly, unfortunately. We get about 600, 700 calls in about 3 weeks.
A week or a day?
In about 3 weeks, we get about 700 calls.
In
So-
3 weeks?
Yeah, so my
200 a
people,
week?
but yeah, so we do a lot of calls.
Okay, so when you talk to these people,
Yes.
you find out their name and all, what database does that go into?
I'm sorry,
What database does that go into?
into a city database that we have, it's called ViewWorks.
Rewards?
ViewWorks.
What?
ViewWorks,
Like you.
yeah, yeah,
Rewards? WRKS?
yes.
So you have a way of knowing how many times they have refused your offer.
We're getting better at that because we weren't tracking all of that for the last, probably, we've gotten better at that because we were trying to find out where they are, where they do good, you know, but I didn't want to pass some records today, just telling a story here, but from 2023, I looked at the streets, it's all the ones we hit every day, so it's, you know, sometimes we're getting the group out, you know, but our regulars, we usually know where they are.
Okay, so VA, it's VWorks database, so how do you communicate with, the Coalition on Homelessness is working on the Built for Zero project, and they're supposed to be having a database of all the homeless people to figure that out. Good. So how do you interface with them?
Not as much as we would like to.
Why not?
Just because, we have sometimes a hard time getting information from them, even though my folks are trained in putting information into their database. I'm gonna say they're not a fan of the notices that we give for people to have to relocate. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Okay, and when you give people notice to relocate, what options do you give them?
Like I said,
Other than move down the street, 10 blocks or 1 block?
well, we offer this shelter, we offer they need 911, any of that kind of stuff. If it's refused, then we have them move. But in that, I cannot tell them where to go if they refuse the shelter, because then I get the return, well, you told me I could go here, so I don't do that, we don't do that. They just tell me they need to move forward from this spot.
What do you find most of the people would like to have when you ask them, what would you like to have, we can help you? What do you find most of them would like?
They want housing or they want hotel vouchers. Okay, so the hotel vouchers are very popular and I do let them know while if there were some available, it's only a temporary fix, we need to get you onto the housing list. There are steps to follow, so we can get more stable housing than being fixed for 10 days or 7 days. Because that's literally what a hotel voucher does.
Yeah, the hotel vouchers are about $50, $80.
I have no idea. Yeah, because it's usually our third party sector, those.
I've talked to a lot of people on the street that are in tents, and I asked them, would you be interested in moving someplace else for another tent in a safe open space? And 90% of them say yes, absolutely. And rather than go to a motel or something, then they'd like to have hotel, of course, but that's not available. That's not economically feasible.
The city has looked at different options, but there's a lot of red tape when it comes to this.
All right, thank you, Louis.
James, if you hear.
On average, could you say what percentage of people refuse services?
Like 99%. Honestly, yes, I would say at least 99%.
And so when they refuse those services, do they give a reason? Or do you ask why they don't want services?
Yeah, we have engaged, we try to get into those conversations with them and it's like, no, I've already been to a shelter, it's not me, or I was kicked out. Or I did have an apartment, but I can't, I'm just waiting for my housing to come up, and I say, okay, well, now I know we're gonna get you in touch with someone who can see where you're at on that list. They don't always give a definitive reason, sometimes they'll say yes, they want us to get them to a shelter. But then the time that gets another team out there, they change their mind, either their friends are walking by or something's changed in the environment, like, oh no, we don't wanna go. Or they just kind of wanna hush me up to get me moving on.
And for purposes of your mission, how do you define encampment? Is a single person under a tarp on the side, off the sidewalk, is that an encampment, or does it need to be a tent or multiple people?
It's a temporary structure that is erected, so it can be a tarp.
So it needs to be somebody who's just lying under a blanket is not an encampment.
And that kind of varies because they're providing themselves shelter, yes, but they are sleeping under a blanket. But if they have a bunch of stuff about them, then we would probably gauge that as an encampment. If they're just sleeping there, we'll usually say, hey, you're blocking the sidewalk or that kind of thing, and ask them to move on. And usually they will, without that notice. But usually it is with the temporary structure that is erected. And it could be tied to a fence, it could be a tarp, tent, pallets. I've also seen like those bread carts that have tarps on them, with the beds in it, even beds that go beds. Yes.
And last question about the storage. So how do you ensure that I mean, do you have many people who take you up on the offer of storage for one?
Not as many as you would think, as many people as we're engaging. What I have found is that persons that are experiencing homelessness are, they don't like to part with their stuff, you know, and this is just my opinion and my thought. It's, they have control of that. They may not have control of everything else in their life, but they have control of that stuff and they can't let it go. And that's, you know what I mean? And that's just something that happens.
And if they did agree to have something stored, how are they able to maintain connection and access to it? I mean, is it,
So we give them, when
they
we,
don't have phones, for example.
right, well, when we take their property, we'll take it, we'll put it in the bin, get it all situated. So we do give them a paper. You know, this is your stuff, okay, this is your paper here. They may not keep it, they probably won't, but that's where we get their name, where we collected it at. The date, that kind of stuff. We ask them to call 311, okay, and we will schedule an appointment for them to pick up their items. Okay, so we find that a lot of them do have their free phones out there and whatnot, or they have case managers that help them get in contact with us. I just don't have a 24/7 operation. I have to bring people in from the field to stage their items so they can pick it up. So that's why we schedule it.
And that information goes in the VBORG's database also, I assume.
That one does not, because it started out as a pilot program and it's evolved. So we just have it on an Excel spreadsheet right now, so that we keep track with their names, with the items that we collected, when we collected it, that kind of stuff. You're welcome.
Sandra. So I am one of the conductors of the walking school bus. I'm sure you've heard of them, right? We do, we walk kids from Wilson to Whittier and then we were back to Wilson. There's a certain route that we follow, which I think is well published by now. So every morning when I go in to meet at Whittier, I drive the route backwards, just so I could see if there's any obstructions or anything like that. I take pictures, work very closely with Commander Richards. And unfortunately, the children walking to school have to see what we see driving by our vehicles. So they experience it walking. Can't shield them from that, but just wondering if, I believe you said that you keep data on which streets you receive the most calls or what?
We can check that, absolutely. So if it's Kentucky, that area, right? Kentucky.
So actually the trouble,
I'm sorry.
the trouble street for us on our route is Valencia from Catherine to Ross.
Yes.
And that big empty parking lot, I guess that belongs to the list. That's
Oh, we know about that.
that
We're there every
Easter, on
day.
Easter, right, it's
Mhm.
completely
That's
flooded
awesome.
with garbage all the time. There's fires in the morning as the kids walk by. So I'm wondering if something can be done to work with solid waste to clean up that area. Because we're finding that all that garbage and old food and everything just continually attracts.
And we're counting county solid waste. So after we give our notices, we do get the trucks out there to. They do pick up most of the litter. It's just that they can't pick up all of it. So that one's been doing it all day. That property is, I'm not even sure what department actually owns it, but they are continually fixing that fence.
Oh, yeah.
They have the panels are constantly missing. Yeah, we're aware of it. I just don't, I mean, there's plans for it, but that's what I'm gonna learn about later. But until that time, I can currently check with them to see if there's something that can be further done, as in, you know, as a litter speed. But I can say something.
So Valencia and Ross
Yeah.
are like our major intersections that give us the most headaches, if I can say that. And I've got pictures. We take
We have
pictures.
pictures.
Yeah, for data purposes,
Right,
but
right.
so yeah, I was just wondering if.
Yeah, we do, that's one of the spots we are original with the neighbor agreement, and we try our hardest, short of sitting and camping with them,
Right.
we are here every day. And I was just explaining to some of the, those city has cleaned up a lot.
Oh, yeah,
It's really
desperately,
because
yeah.
when I started, it was really terrible, so it has kind of been having improvements in the area. Has been fixed, is it gonna be fixed anywhere? That people can,
But we absolutely have seen a significant improvement from the last school year to this school year, working with all our different.
And we keep that area of the route to school and stuff like that, as your parents, my team goes out and just get the person who wanted to.
Okay, great, thank you.
The route just got updated recently, right?
Yes. Yeah, so we have like two separate routes now, because we're gonna meet at Wilson, but yeah. Thank you.
So it strikes me that with four people, I ran across a car with your people in it, and there were two of them in it. So do they generally ride in pairs together?
One puts not all there, so I don't think it was fine. Unless we're doing training.
They said they were the maybe that's what it was. It was
They
probably,
have gone through
probably was training, because the guy
Probably.
riding shotgun wasn't saying very much.
Yeah.
But with four people trying to cover Albuquerque, I have two questions. Do you think that's enough? Do you have enough people on your staff? And number two, how do you measure success? What is your goal? And how do you measure that?
When we get people to go into a shelter to us, that's a win, right? So if we can get them into a shelter, because that's a starting point, absolutely. Because at that point, when they go into a shelter, they can at least start meeting with the case managers up there, hopefully getting them onto the correct path or getting them the additional services that they need to get them onto that path. And that's what I explained to them when I said, go into the shelter, you'll get the case manager, or they'll connect you with someone, start that path so that you can get into this housing. You want more permanent, stable housing. So we do discuss all that stuff with them. For people, it's absolutely not enough, but like I said, right now, I do have additional staff available to me that we are very much utilizing.
So do you have a way of putting a number on your success rate?
It's gonna be low because a lot of people, like I said, are regulars, and they're the ones that have been on the books.
Very high, I'm sure.
Yes, no, I don't have a percentage, I can give it to you, it would probably be very minimal, but at least when we go out there and say, okay, maybe not today, maybe it'll be tomorrow, we just hold on to that one.
Good attitude.
Yeah, we try to.
Along those lines, can you talk a little bit about how your team trains? How you try to build trust with individuals, especially the ones that you talk to day after day?
Absolutely, I always try to have my persons, or even me myself, we try to engage with those conversations, and honestly, people are in our house right now, they trust my people because I ask my people to keep their word. You say you're going to do something, or if you say you're going to show back up, because that's very important that we get that, because your word to them, they've been already let down many different reasons, many different other things. But if you tell them it to them, it's like gold. And they know me, a lot of them know me out there, and they know that we know you don't pull no punches. I will tell you the truth, I have nothing to lose. I will tell you what we're doing, why we're doing it, and what the reasons are. And so they do respect that. And so we try to keep that communication. So that's how we get them to kind of open up to develop that trust at that point. So they'll tell us, I have that person's tell me, well, you don't know this, I'm like, you're absolutely right, I don't know what it's. If you want to tell me, I'm here. You don't want to tell me, that's totally up to you. And so, I'll just start talking with them, build it out a little bit more. So let me get someone else. If we have big want, and get someone out here. No, yes, whatever their answer may be, we'll go from there. But I do have my people, at least try to keep their proximity. I did have one lady, I forgot to show back up with the bin because it was only me, I think that week. Oh man, she didn't let me look down. Every time I started speaking, you didn't with my bin. And I was like, you're right, I didn't, so it's very important that we work.
Denise, I know a lot of us are upset because, it seems like where there are people camping out or staying overnight, there's a lot of trash. And, do you ever, think about giving, maybe a small trash bag to people who have a bunch of trash around their, setup?
We do carry them when we have them available. We do carry some in, have like carry some in units. Yes, because they do ask, hey, do you have any trash bags? And we'll get them. Yes, no, we get those.
How about gloves?
The gloves, we do get some, usually we keep them for my people because we, just because of, we don't get them out for the persons, but I did just get some hygiene kits for the animals. So shoot.
So I was thinking, right, when people have gloves, they're more likely to pick up trash.
Right.
I'm talking
If they
about
ask us for some, we
disposable.
have in the units, yeah, we'll give them the disposable gloves, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll give them if they ask, yeah, absolutely. So.
Good. How do you, keep from getting depressed?
So we have that conversation. Yeah, we did that, right. So we had that conversation and, I did, like I tell my people, it's not, the job itself is not hard, okay? It's very mentally taxing and it can be. When I was just explaining to Jennifer earlier, I had one guy that was a success, he was in housing for 2 years and stuff like that. We started out downtown with him, chased him around a little bit. He finally got on that road to recovery, got all that stuff done, was in an apartment for 2 years. He's now back out on the streets. Yeah, and it's terrible to see it because it's like we're trying to get him back, trying to urge him because we know him really well, everybody. Well, so we try to encourage that.
So if you're getting about 600 calls every 3 weeks, did you say?
It can be more, some of them, a lot more duplicates, so that's kind of a rough average right there, but we get a lot.
Okay, so say 200 plus per week.
Yeah.
And 99% are refusing help. So what do you do with them week after week, month after month? What's the plan? What's the 90-day plan to help them get off the street by the time it's freezing?
Continue to offer what we can out there. I know in a perfect world, I don't think any city has the full resources or the capacity to give everybody shelter if they all decided to take it at one time. But we do what we can, I do know that there are shelters that are gonna be overflow, this place gets full, or the west side gets full. There'll be
So what is the contingency plan that next month, it'll happen and say, yeah, now it's
So
cold.
we talked about the winter plan last month and we can talk about it again. But I want to get Denise, I want you guys to get as much time with Denise as you need. And then I'm gonna kick her out until I go home because she's got to get up early in the morning to do all her work. But I'm happy to talk about the winter plan, but let's ask Denise all the questions that you all want from her. Mike.
I had 2 questions. The first one was, did you bring a business card with you?
I didn't, I'm sorry, I forget to carry it with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I remember one meeting that I sat in with Coalition and Homelessness. We talked about taking a woman to an apartment that was ready for her to move in, and they said, would you like to? And she said no.
Yes.
And what the guy said was, what would make it possible for you to move in? And she said, microwave. And so for whatever it was, $187, I think he said, they got a microwave, or maybe it was donated, and she moved into the apartment. So maybe that's something that you could add to your discussions to say, no, I don't want to go to, and then just say, well, help me understand what would make it possible for you to accept the shelter.
Right.
Or whatever.
We also had this discussion right before this meeting, because they'll counter with, oh, I can't take my dog. Oh, yes, you can take your dogs. It takes up to 2 of them. So, okay, so what's in it? Oh, no, and that West, and everybody knows this before, had a really bad reputation. Oh, no, I want to go. I said, okay, they've got new beds. They've got new dorms. It's under new management. So everything's changed up there. So, they try to counter with, okay, we've done all these things there. Also, oh, wow, I wanna be with my significant other, they have couples dorms. You know, so we do have those tools in our little pocket there to let them know to kind of counter with them. And then they'll be like, well, and we do give that option, like,
So would it be possible to do some sort of, podcast, if you will, where you go and take footage and have interviews at the shelters and with couples who are staying there and people with their dogs, and then be able to pull up you know, like a 3-minute. This is what it's like today on your tablet. Have a tablet that you can carry and you can show them.
right,
Because I've heard the same thing, that,
Right,
you know, they have these preconceptions about what it is like based on what it was like a
right,
couple of years ago, and showing them.
yeah, the difference in the improvement.
Yeah, and perhaps instead of the little resources card,
Yeah.
maybe have a little booklet,
Mhm.
you know, that could be
Certainly,
something
yeah.
that would be easily handed out.
Right,
This is the reality of what it's like in the shelters and the services and Gateway and whatever, so that they get a consistent story out there, and then they start talking about it among themselves. So that's why I wanted to, but will we be able to find your email address on the city website
you
easily?
should, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that's an interesting idea, I think we can certainly bring that back to the table and go back to the office.
I just wanted to confirm that I heard and understood correctly. So 99% refuse to take services or go to a shelter. But it sounded like virtually everyone would be willing to have a hotel voucher or housing. So if the offer was, for example, in lieu of going to the shelter, go to a space that will be your space, your location, that would be acceptable.
Define your space and not on your
Well,
website.
a transitional home.
So I know there's some stuff that's opening up, like these tiny little power homes and stuff like that. We do refer them over to these smaller things. I don't know what the criteria is for those locations. I'm not sure because they're new, I think, or they have those power homes. They're coming up, I don't know when they're gonna be available or whatnot, or even like the tiny village.
The ones on San Mateo.
No, yeah, so. Those I don't know, but I mean. If we have those available to us, because I don't even have hotel vouchers, those go through third party. So I couldn't even answer that, for you. I'm not even pretend like I know, okay?
Or to put it another way, if there was the functional spatial equivalent of a hotel room or housing available, then they would accept the offer of that based on your experience.
They would probably accept it, but. Again, it goes back to like the Polish family, they have a waiting list for housing.
No,
So, yeah.
I'm saying if it was available.
Yeah, they probably would,
Are you seeing people from out of state coming in?
We see some, probably not as many as you would think. Right now we are working with, cases where we as company unification. So when we're out there, we also ask the persons, are you from here? You know, wait for their answer and say, don't get one, do you want to go back home? You know, and we wait for their answer. And, you know, if it's yes, then we put them in touch and the city will work on getting, you know, just to get them some stuff done, but get them a bus to get one. Actually, I think it's more. About something. Not we, but these.
Are you guys the only ones through the cabinets, like ACS isn't?
Well, I want, we address them and we do provide the notice.
Right.
Yes, it is in that regard, yes. But ACS does address encampments and going to offering straight out, taking them to the shelters or to here, you know, the overnight stuff, that kind of thing, okay? So, but I do work closely with ACS, because if I do have persons that want some services, then I can just. Actually, it's pretty quick versus waiting to go through so.
I was under the impression that ACS was doing the same thing as what you've been describing, no?
They do it in a different regard. They do get through ones as well. And in regards to encampments, but they're more service based. We do offer the services and we do all of that first, because that's our primary goal, is to see if we can get these persons into whatever they need to. But my people walk a fine line, and we have to, if they decide they don't want any of that, unfortunately, we do have to get that notice of you can't stay there. And then we give them that heads up, like the trucks will be coming, we're giving you this time to relocate. And you need the storage, so you don't have to move it out. But you know, I'll get a truck out here with the bins. We need some of that pressure.
Do you have any kind of enforcement, available for it to
Like if I need to call PD.
Well, if you tell somebody they have to move and they don't. And then you come back, I don't know, do they have 72 hours before they have to move?
Depending on where the location, it's rare that we do have 72-hour locations anymore. Because most of these encampments, if you've seen them, they're on the sidewalks, they're on the streets, they're by the schools, they're by the, you know, these different areas. But we can, when the crew goes out, and sometimes depending on the area, we will let them know that you might have to take PD out there, just kind of depends. Because we know the regulars and which ones are going to give a hard time. So if they're giving us a hard time, then chances are when the crew goes out, they're going to give them that. So we can get some enforcement out there if we need to. That's not our first option though.
And if they move, is there a minimum distance that they're supposed to move in order to reset the clock?
Well, it's supposed to be 4 blocks, according to policy, according 400 feet, well, according to policy, okay, right now. Again, my people wear plain clothes. This is how we walk up to the encampments, and it's part of why we're able to engage with them in these conversations, right? So, we do 4 blocks is what the policy is right at this moment. Because if you look at some other city stuff, you know, about liquor stores and stuff like that, it's 300 or 3 city blocks away from a school or whatever. So we try to think a little bit further. The chances are we have that.
Is that policy public?
Yeah, it's on mine. I think it's up for change soon, but right now we're running off the one that's on online right now. Okay, it's like regarding the balance.
Can you get involved with the point in time count?
We do in a roundabout sense. What we do is we know when it's gonna happen to the beginning of the year, right around there. Point in time count, so the coalition asks us to stop our outreach and notices for certain durations. So that way they can take account of the persons that are in that area. And then we've been rotating like in different areas, so we'll stop it there for, I don't know, 2 days, 3 days, whatever their time they need or whatever they've requested. And then we'll move on to the next spot.
And it sounds like HHH is doing a good job of trying to manage the homeless situation. So who's in charge of ending homelessness in the next 5 years? I want to talk about solutions, not management. How do we solve
Everyone's
the
job.
problem?
It is everyone's job. It is this entire
Well, it starts
community's
at the
job.
top, so from the mayor to Ramirez to Maria.
The mayor's not the top. It starts at the federal government, it starts at the state, it starts at the county, it
Starts
starts
with the
at
mayor.
Council, Chuck.
City council.
Don't forget city council.
Well, it starts with the public.
community businesses, faith organizations.
But who in the city is trying to end homelessness in the next 5 years.
All of us.
Okay. So, you know, in order to end in order to build anything, you have to have data. If you're a business person, you want to grow, you have to have data. We have 5,000 people on the street. We want to get it down to 50. How do we do that without knowing the name of every 5,000 people and what they need and give them what they need in the next 5 years?
We also can't make them disclose that information in
What?
their names, when we try to gather their names. They give us some smart, like names sometimes, some very interesting and creative stuff. Yeah, so they give us some very interesting stuff. But we recognize them by face, you know, and I know a lot of them by their street name.
Yeah.
You know, versus I don't know their real name, they have not disclosed that to me. But, you know, it comes down to, we can't make them tell us that information until they're ready.
No, but you can work with the city to give them a citation. If they don't do something in 10 days, they get another citation, 10 days, they do something else, they go to jail. If they go to jail from there, they'll be motivated to do something.
That's the program I was talking about, NAST right now, so we go out and we give that notice. So always goes out there, and if it's a bad encampment, or not, I shouldn't say a bad encampment, but if it's a difficult encampment, NAST is there, they will give them that CT for trespass. If it meets the criteria for PD, okay, so you gotta remember, they've gotta meet a criteria as well, they can't just give them out for whatever reason. So once that happens, if they return to the area, whatever the duration is, they can either, they can arrest after that point, or you know, provide them with another CT. You know, so I've seen people have been arrested for continually, habitually going back to the same exact location they've been told not to.
Because I've talked to several people that camped around my house, have been on the street for 2 to 8 years. That's ridiculous. To move. That's a total waste of money. You could take that same money and plan ahead and have a replacement in 5 years. So, thank you, Denise.
Ma'am, you have an impossible job.
I get that a lot.
And we appreciate what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And you need some help. And it's high time that city council was held accountable to why we don't have a program. You know, if you don't know where you're going, any road will do. And, you know, how do we reduce 5,000 to 3,000 to 1,000? I know everybody is working, but you know, I don't see a cohesive program. And I'm wondering, Jennifer, would there be an opportunity to get and I don't mean Nicole, we kind of know where she's sitting, but she would certainly be welcome. But some of the other city councilors, if we could have a heart-to-heart talk with these people and say, you know, what more can you do, should you do? I mean, boy, that's, again, thank you for what you're trying to do for the folks on the street.
Well, and it's for everybody, you know, it's our city, it's everybody's city, and like I tell them, like I said, I told you, we're trying to keep quality of life for people in the neighborhoods, stuff like that, right? But we're also trying to keep these persons like, they're still people, and that's what I'm telling you, you're still a person. To me, your stuff is replaceable, but you're absolutely not, you know, but let's figure out what you're doing, what we do try to do all that stuff. We're a small team, we're not very well known, but that's okay, because that's where we need to be, so where we're at. So.
I would say if you had 100 employees, you're still be understaffed. I really mean that. But please understand, many people in this room are so frustrated with the fact that nothing seems to change.
It's $1 million.
Many people say it's getting worse. And you know, we homeowners, small businesses, they need to be part of this process.
We get frustrated as well because, you know, it's tiresome for us to keep going to the same locations and, you know, the same people who just keep asking. You know, you don't want to go to Dayton, you don't come on. We'll just keep working at it. You when you don't have it. Yes, sir.
Well, what distinguishes your program from Albuquerque Community Safety?
Fine, we start the outreach and I'm hoping that we're planting that seed for them. Do you know what I mean? So we don't transport them, just because we don't have persons to do it. But we do, hopefully, if nothing else, we at least planted that seed for them. Maybe today they say no, but tomorrow people they'll say yes, you know, at least we give them that option. Look, if you say no right now, and the trucks come out, you change your mind, you tell them to call me, I will get someone out here for you. So we hopefully plant that seed. They have a little more, resources than we do, but they're a lot bigger as well, and they do many different other things, not only this. Okay, so they do have those resources, they do many other things. ACS. You're welcome.
So how many people do you have in your department? Just for this?
In mine, in just my little, technically, right now I have 11 right now, but the team that I have right now, I have 3 and myself, which is under the Triple H, the public outreach part of it, that's what I have, but we do have the expansion who are assisting us right now, so they've been brought over from another city department to help out, to get more data, to get more information, to get more outreach to these persons, to kind of clear up all these areas, so. But they're all done. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Okay, before we go to the next item on the agenda, I am gonna circulate a sign up sheet. We are looking for donations of pumpkin pie and whipped cream so that we can have it as part of our dinner, Thanksgiving dinner at Gateway West. We're expecting about 660 to 700 people that day, and so I am looking for people who would love to go to Sam's Club or Costco and buy me 1 to 3 pumpkin pies that are about $6 each, or a 3-pack of whipped cream. It's about $11 to $12 each. And if you sign up on the sheet, we'll contact you and pick those up so that we can serve dessert at Gateway West for Thanksgiving.
And that's for Thanksgiving.
For Thanksgiving Day, yeah. If you're interested in volunteering, we have our volunteer ask is up on our volunteer website. So we're looking for volunteers who will come in and serve. Right now, we're looking for volunteers for Gateway West. We need probably 20 to 25 people to help us that day. It starts about 3 p.m. and then we'll hope to finish by about 7 o'clock that night. Our team is still working with the programs here to see how many volunteers we'll need, much smaller group. But we'll be looking to see what we need here as well. So if you would like, it's a great way to volunteer and get your family out of the house and work off some of that pumpkin pie you maybe make earlier. So I'm gonna start circulating this. If you're interested, please sign up.
Jennifer, for the pumpkin pie and whipped cream, where can we drop it off?
So we'll call you. So what we're doing is we'll use the freezers at our Health and Social Service Center. So if you want to buy them now, and so we'll call you, set up that time to where you can drop them off. We'll freeze them until we're ready to move them the week of. And we'll defrost them and get them ready. And Alon has his food handler permit now, so he's official.
So we could, if we bought them in advance and we don't have a big freezer or anything like that, we could drop them off where?
Well, we'll call you. So if you put your information on the list and you're interested in donating, we'll call you and set up a time and a location.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Where do we go to see about volunteering?
On the website, we have a
Which
volunteer link,
website?
the city website,
oneabqvolunteers.com.
So where's Alon tonight?
What's that?
Alon has got so much on his plate. I told him not to come tonight, so
He's got what?
a lot on his plate.
Real busy. Volunteers.
We had a huge donation of hygiene packets come in. We just got a notice that we've got a huge donation of dog food coming in. So he's got to manage that and get that out to everyone. He's got to recruit volunteers Thanksgiving Day. So I said, please go get some sleep if I can't afford you to be tired or sick. So Laura, I'll turn it over to you first. Yeah. Okay.
To introduce Lieutenant Steve Martinez, he's our swing shift lieutenant for the Southeast Area Command. You all have any questions on the numbers or in terms of any some of the tactics?
Right now, we're starting to fire prevention type plan. It's conjunct with the AFR, where our officers will go around the city, primarily the southeast area we had, look for fires and encampments that are started by the gun house and look to put them out, make sure that their structures and law enforcement action if necessary. That begins November 3rd, for the end of March. And we're still doing the central corridor attack plan, where we tackle our streets within central Louisiana and Wyoming. That's been going well. They've getting a lot of results from that. Obviously, I wish we can do more, but we're still working hard and pushing on that task as well. That's what we have as far as the attack plans in my area.
Specific areas that you all learned that we need to take a look at.
Commander Richards does an amazing job communicating with us all the time. When we have issues, we just call. It's been great.
And last night, he said all your numbers were either improved or there was less reported by 20% on across the board. Is what he told us.
Who said that?
Commander Richards.
That's not what these numbers are.
So when he's speaking of that, he's talking about the area command, the entire area command.
Yeah.
And again, when we're looking at these are month to month, so you're going to see those spikes and you're going to see them come down and go up. He looks also a longer range.
I think he was talking about YTD,
Top spotters a year ago? Or is that number increased simply because you have more of them deployed and therefore
Yeah, no, we've had shots at it for quite a while.
the same number that you have now?
The same number of minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those are all deployed by our real-time crime center, and it's based on where we're getting data that our shots being fired, so. I always remind you, please call that in if you need us, because that's how our resources are deployed.
I think your chart on the back has it from October 24 to September of 25. Broken
Yeah,
down.
it's like a rolling.
Yeah, so if you look at, you can 12 months of data.
Yeah, what is proactive?
So proactive type work, that's going to be things that are officer initiated. So if they call out, for instance, that they're out with a person or a vehicle, that would be under the proactive category. So anything that the officers are initiating, excuse me, rather than waiting for a call for service.
Where would traffic stops be? I know it's just this area, but I guess we don't have a traffic stop like when people speed or go through stop signs or stop signs and everything.
We did not.
October 14 and 15 on the following line.
Those are accidents.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's talking about traffic stops. It doesn't look like it's on there.
I think that's something that, yeah, I'm a little concerned about. I see so many speeders and today somebody just sailed through the stop signs at Constitution and Washington. If I would have gone when I was supposed to, I would have been people.
Yeah.
40 miles an hour, never slow down. And you just had to stop. And I wish there was a police car there. Just get their butts and, you know.
Like we hear them calling out, but when I'm driving out, I hear them calling out a lot. Our traffic units are helping with the cat cars in the area, so they're constantly out calling out traffic stops. But yeah, it's always where an officer isn't, but the bad behavior seems to occur, but yeah. They are doing traffic stops, they are citing for no license plates. For all of those violations, so. I kind of think of it like, I've never seen a bear in the wild, but I certainly believe they're there. Just because you haven't seen a traffic stop occurring doesn't mean they're not happening.
Don't we have a license plate reader? There's a lot of things that you can get apprehended, where they have stolen license plates.
Yeah.
I think 2 or 3 meetings ago, it was indicated that they were fabricating the paper plates and selling them. So, our police department really does their best to keep us safe.
We do, yeah, as Pete mentioned, we do have the license plate readers all over town. They, contrary to popular belief, that they can read through plate blockers, so they can see right through that. We have now our drone as a first responder program, so they are up and about. I heard them up looking for a gun that someone had tossed in a purchase the other day. So those are launched from the real-time crime center, and they're autonomously flown from there, looking over scenes to help with scene security, help with perimeter setup, help with dispatch, rescue, and police officers. We're trying to leverage that technology.
What's the difference between the county's regulations and the city's regulations with respect to speed cameras? I've gotten nailed on Alameda by the county twice just for accelerating through an orange light before it turned red. But I've not encountered anything in the city. But it's pretty effective to make you pay attention to how you drive when you get a couple of those things.
I don't know a lot about the counties.
I can't answer that.
So we don't, Albuquerque doesn't have them, right?
Albuquerque has speed cameras. That is our Department of Municipal Development that places them and monitors them. And it's a civil citation, so there's no points against your driver's license or anything like that.
So we do have them.
We do have them, yeah. And you'll see signs around that there's a speed camera in the area. You drive this way tonight, you'll see one. Just don't drive too fast or you'll see the flash block.
Sounds like we need more. Need one on Washington, right?
And if you have locations, submit that through 311 and it will go to Department of Municipal Development, and they do move them around occasionally and add them.
I think there's James, an inclination to buy more than, it involves quite a lot of money. I can say that lead and coal has really calmed down. I mean, I've been past like I was standing still on lead and coal, and it's just calmed down. Not perfect, and it's sad that we have to have them, but this is what I do. I'm at an intersection and the light turns green. I go 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. Then I cross because they do, just like Johnson, you go right through. At a high rate.
You're the guy holding up traffic. No wonder the speed.
We'll be good on that one.
How about the reduction in lanes on Central? Has that been helpful? From 3 lanes each way to 2 lanes each way?
I think people are getting used to it. The first couple of weeks, there were nice signs, there were paint on the ground, and people were making their own lane right down the bus and business access lane. But I think people are starting to get used to it. What is helping is the fencing that's gone up in the medians along Central. That's reduced. the number of pedestrian crossings, which reduces hopefully the number of pedestrian accidents.
Any other questions for Laura? Thanks. Okay, let's give the floor to Flora, our data analyst. She brought the stats in for you.
Hello, everybody. So, we added our first responders this month. They have their up and going. And next month you'll see the increase. We're gonna have men's up, so we'll have data for them, and women's expansion. So you'll start seeing that next month. But for this month, we have a total of, well, this was September, total of 1,291 people were served, so almost 1,300 people throughout the Gateway network. And we served families. We had it was 67 families for a total of 208. I listed this 208 people, 67 families. And we had some rentals for the families. Altogether, 6 of the families that of the 13 that left ended up going into rentals. So that's really nice. And so that's the data there. And Chuck, as far as your questions about or your comments about us needing to have enough data to understand the problem, that's something that we're all really hard at work on between the state and the city and all our service providers, and not just our service providers, but all the service providers that are doing work with the in-house. We are making a lot of effort to get the data together so we can understand the problem or understand the situation and be able to address it more effectively. So just because it's not evident doesn't mean that it's not happening. And as Jennifer said, it's something that we all have a part in, and we'd love to see it be. I'd love to work myself out of a job. I'm sure Jennifer would too. And but the fact of the matter is that unfortunately it's not just Albuquerque. This problem is growing worldwide, and we as a society need to look at what we're doing and how we're doing it, and what we're allocating, and how we're contributing or not contributing as far as the problem and the solution. And I've been around a little bit, as you can tell, and I've never worked around a more dedicated group of people as I have in this organization. Jennifer and the others, you've seen the commercials probably, and it's wonderful. And so it's not for a lack of effort that we have a growing problem, but we do need to understand it. So anyway, here's the data. And if you have any questions or you want to see any other data, feel free to reach out to me, ftlucero@cabq.gov, and if I can get it, I'd be more than happy to share it with you. What was your email again?
FT, like Flora Therese Lucero, LUCERO @cabq.gov.
Those are encouraging numbers, Laura.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's so kind of see some forward momentum there.
Yeah, well, when you look at bed nights, so the number of people and all this, we're projected to have over 450,000, I think, bed nights next year. So, it's significant and yeah. Important.
When the men's comes online, will it come online with the full 100 that has now been funded?
The men's is online?
Yeah, we'll talk, I can give you an update on that.
Okay. And is women's now at 100 beds?
Women's is at 100 beds, yeah. This is not, this is the data for the 50 beds.
In September.
Yes, September.
So will October be at 100 or probably?
Half of October, they just did the expansion. So.
Would it be possible to just add a column for capacity of, for example, what the number would be if
Full
you were
capacity.
absolutely maxed?
Sure.
It would just be I mean, I realize that's not necessarily a realistic expectation, but it provides a
Just
good
good to
frame
know.
of reference.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Okay, let's just take, say, for instance, Gateway West. Is, are those numbers for, I'm trying to get an understanding, is like there from 18 to 20, there were 7. Does that mean there was 7 different people in the month? Or does that mean that, say, the same person came 7 times?
No, 7 people.
7 unique people. Okay. Okay, is there a way to know, like, well, 715, does that mean every night in the month, 715 were served?
No. No, there are some that they may leave for a couple of nights and come back. And there are some that are there all month long.
Oh, okay, so that,
And then some are there just one time and don't come back. But see, I tried to give you that data a couple of months ago and everybody was like, no, that's too much.
did I say that?
No, actually, John, you wanted more data, so I won't put that on you. Yeah, no, but we do have that, like, is how many stays, the frequency and stuff. 'Cause there are some, as Denise was saying, there's some that they'll come, they pick them up and they come and they'll be there for a couple of days and then they leave or, so, yeah, not everybody is there all month long.
What kind of bedding do they have? Do they have like sheets and blankets or?
Yeah, so you can actually see pictures on our website, what Gateway West looks like versus what here looks like. But yeah, all of our operators have a linen service, so they're given clean linens and blankets. And then, depending on the setup, every location has a little bit set up as far as like Gateway West has underbed storage that's lockable. Here has, nightstands and small little dressers, that sort of thing.
So if somebody stays for 5 days, they use their sheets and the same sheets and blankets for 5 days. And then when they leave, do they take them somewhere and put them in the linen?
Yeah, so yeah, they get put in the dirty linen and then, who has the contracts. I think Mission has one contract, Census has another, so they'll drop off clean linen, so they'll pick up the dirty ones and go wash them.
And they have washers and dryers that go.
Yeah, not at Gateway West, but we have them here. So we're on the renovation of our last dorm at Gateway West. And our last dorm is actually going to be our rec room. So we are working on building some water lines and all of that so that we can have washers and dryers in that rec room. That rec room will also serve in our winter time if we need to do overflow. That room will also serve as an overflow that we can set up cots pretty quickly.
When it says a destination down here, families are ahead of household, is that 13 that are moved out into permanent housing of some sort?
No, some of them, like, one of them, or two of them, the provider, the primary household member ended up going into detention of some sort. So 6 of them went into a rental, 4 of them, they didn't get the interview into the system. And then 1 of them ended up in an emergency shelter.
And an ongoing housing subsidy, that's housing subsidy from the city?
It could have been from the city, it could have been a different,
Some other word? So, but, so the total amount of people that exited the program was 13.
no, total amount of families.
And amount of families, so family. Because
Yeah,
could have been 2 or 3 families, that's a family. 1,291. Those are families also.
1,291 people, all the gateways,
So
1,291. The families, 208 people,
It's out of 208.
208 people.
That's just families.
Yes, out of 67 families, 13. Exited.
So out of the 1,291, do you have any record of how many exited to permanent housing?
There were, let's see, between them,
Well, this destination transitional housing, the homeless, 2 emergency shelter, that in unplaces. I went to rental by client, the ongoing housing subsidy. Last of the 13.
That's what each box has their own, each program has their own box that will tell you how many were exited that month. And then the destinations based on if nobody was able to be.
Recovery is the pallet homes
yes.
by on 25, right?
Yeah, so we have capacity for 50, we're at 44. So we opened end of May, I believe. I make that be my memory.
You have trouble on your
I
memory.
know, but the 2 of us, we gotta get together. Yes, we opened about the end of May, I think, for that one, so we're at 44, so.
You know Janice Herrera, right? Are you familiar with the issue she was having? She was trying to get somebody in there and they were saying that they needed to be sober for 90 days before they could be admitted, which seemed kind of a contradiction. Do you have any, shed any light on that?
I don't know about that. So recovery housing is for someone that is actively working a recovery program.
Ahead of even entering.
Correct. So it's our way to, so if they have not gone through detox and are not actively working the program, then gateway recovery is the appropriate place for them. So we have other places that we can plug them. Recovery is specifically for someone who is unhoused and working the program. So since all those clients are working that program, we have the barrier, we talk about low barrier a lot, the barrier gets higher so that we can keep everyone clean working.
You could describe that as the post-detox facility.
Correct.
Was that a recent thing that she?
It started, excuse me, it came up about a month ago and
The reason,
sorry?
The reason I ask is because when Tiny Home Village first started, that was their requirement. But they changed that.
Relaxed,
since then.
yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know that it's 90 days. I can look into that for you. That's the one gateway I don't receive programming on. I receive the maintenance of it. Steve takes care of it, but I can check with my colleague. Because I think as we talk about continuum of care, it was we could literally put someone in medical sobering for the 24 hours. If they accept help, we could bring them downstairs to Turquoise Lodge or to Haven. And they could do the 24 to 28-day program, and we could access them to gateway recovery. So I'm not sure it's 90 days, but I can check on that. It's all about it. We're quickly running out of time, so let me give you a few updates of what's been happening here at Gateway Center. We've had a busy month. Medical respite, you can see we've served 29 clients. We're at about 23 clients right now. Albuquerque Healthcare for the Homeless just got some good news on their 1115 Medicaid waiver. The federal government previously was taking 1 to 2 months to approve expansions of programs. It actually took them almost over a year to get the next level of approval. So we've been holding at about 20 beds. They finally got their approval, which gives them authority to expand the program. So they are hiring a medical person that will be here full time. That will allow us to take more clients in, and it will allow us to do a broader referral program as well. So we've been holding about 20 beds since February. We have capacity for 38 beds. We can surge to 50 if we need to. So our next wave will be working to get to that 38. Medical sobering's been open for not quite a month. I think it'll be a month next week. We have served 33 clients. 4 of them have accepted referrals to programs. So those 4 individuals got referrals into substance use programs. So we're excited about that. Right now, ACS is our main provider, but APD will be doing transport as well, especially as we head into winter. They're helping us with our winter plan. The sobering will be key to that as well. Our men's program opened 2 weeks ago today. We have 24 clients in there. As I reminded you guys last month, we are prioritizing senior citizens out of Gateway West into these beds. So we have 24 that we have brought over. We are scaling up. So we do have 92 beds. We're not just opening 92 beds, as you can imagine. I like to remind people, you usually have guests sometimes at Thanksgiving. There's a lot of coordinating as you have guests come into your house. If you have 15 people come stay with you, you've got to figure out linens and food and bathrooms and all that stuff. So that's actually what has to happen here, especially as we're bringing seniors over. We need to make sure that their medications are being transported with them, that we know what doctor's appointments they have to be at. If they have mobility issues, we have to prep for that as well, getting all their stuff over here. Our partners are busy hiring, so they're still scaling up as they're bringing people in. So we will probably hold at this number for a little bit until we get to about mid-November, when Community Bridges will do their next, they're starting the next training wave next week. And so as soon as we get those employees trained and more to the shift, we'll start to bring more. Women's expansion, so the 50 beds and expansion for women's opened 2 weeks ago on Saturday. So total for entire women's, remember we had the first original 50 beds. We're sitting at about 65 right now. They also transported seniors from Gateway West here. We did have some exits, so the numbers kind of fluctuated. We brought in 20, but we had some empty beds in the original 50 that we were filling as well. So we have opened the referrals, but we're holding steady right now to prioritize Gateway West. Interestingly enough, we've had some seniors decline moving on to Gateway West. They like it there. They have their little community. And so kind of like with Denise, we were like, oh, we were really excited to have you. They're still getting case management, but they've declined to move over. We're going to offer them to have a field trip and come out and see what it looks like and where they would be, and see if that will help change their mind. I think it's a good reminder that change is hard for all of us. So I always laugh when employees are like, we don't understand. And I'm like, I just talked to you about moving your office and It's a lockdown, drag out fight, and you're wondering why someone doesn't want to change their living experience, so. So yeah, we're working on that. So things are pretty busy. As you see the first responder numbers, as well. First responders have been open for over a year, but we're still hustling, and first responders is very active and busy. Community Bridges also runs that program for us. We've expanded our hours. For almost a year, we were only receiving clients at 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. So ACS, APD, sheriffs was only bringing us clients then. We have expanded. We are now at 4 p.m. to 8 a.m. November 9th, we will expand on weekends and holidays to 3 p.m. to 8 a.m. So we will stay there. First responders, just as a reminder, is really to serve our first responders who don't have access to community services that are open at night. So you can imagine being a graveyard shift ACS employee coming across someone at 2 a.m. and not having anyone to take them. So we want to make sure that we're not filling up because it's a smaller space. We consider ourselves full at 15, surge to 20 on an emergency night if we need to. But it's really to make sure that those graveyard first responders have access to a service that's open for them. They've been doing amazing work. Community Bridges, I can't brag enough about them. I call them the shelter whisperers. They have talked people into going to Gateway West. They have made community connections across a variety of services and are connecting people right and left. So we've been really, really impressed with their work. So real quickly, just a reminder on winter sheltering. We will move into winter sheltering parameters in November. So if we hit a weather day where the weather is 29 degrees or below, a banner will go up on the city website. ACS will also start their winter transport November 3rd. So there's a phone number I'm happy to share it with you. It will transport from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. So if anyone's needing a shelter location, they can call that number. They can call before 8 p.m., which we always encourage. Because if they get busy, the calls may stack up. ACS will transport by van to Gateway West. Once we hit capacity at Gateway West, we will trigger emergency sheltering here. So our building 11 will trigger as emergency sheltering. ACS will bring here as well, and then we'll transport on. Sobering, like I said earlier, will be a big help for us. Because a lot of the people, Doug, Flora, and I worked emergency sheltering graveyard shifts last year. There was a big population of people that we saw that came in who were high intoxicated, where if we'd had medical sobering open last year, we would have walked them down. So that's going to be a big help for us this year.
That's just up to 24 hours.
It's up to 20, well, not even 24. So last year, again, we sit on call and we wait for Gateway West to hit full beds. Once we know that they're about 30 beds away from hitting full, we will call the on-call team and they'll come on site. So usually last year we didn't have to trigger until about 10 o'clock at the earliest, 10 p.m. at night. And so then everyone had to be out by 8 a.m. So we start running transport to Rocket Noonday for day shelter. We would ask if anyone wanted to go to Gateway West to get a bed. We would run to African Market for the homeless, First Nations. So it's not even 24 hours. It's usually like 10 at the most.
For
the emergency overflow.
Most people accept the service.
Last year was my first year doing this, but those 2.5 to 3 weeks, the end of January to February, when we had super cold temperatures, they were coming in.
They don't have been in shelter before, right?
What's that?
They hadn't been in shelter before, and they because it was so severely cold and it was so close.
Yeah, you could tell, and they would tell us, they're like, I haven't been in a shelter in years, but it's so cold outside, so, and you could tell, some of them were more high acute. So,
If they don't need to go to medical sobering, where do they go in here, taking them here?
if y'all know where Vision Sankofa is, there's an outbuilding that's not connected to this building, it's out on what used to be Ridgecrest. Vision Sankofa has the second floor, the first floor is currently vacant. So that's what we'll set up with. Triggers, it's a shelter. If we fill there, then we will look at other spaces here. We'll also look at other city buildings like community centers. So.
I have a question. I went to your opening for the men's center. And the lady from the state said that she was giving the money to you guys as long as it's not impacting the neighborhood. How do you guys gauge if it's impacting the neighborhood? Like who's keeping track of, hey, there's too many services here. It's impacting this neighborhood. We need to just back off a little. Like who does that?
Yeah, I'm gonna say what I think. I don't know what Secretary Nair was necessarily thinking about. We are making sure that our security is patrolling perimeter. And so as long as we're able to bring people in and offer the services and do the referral process, and as long as the residents are following the rules, there are certain rules when we do intake that they're very clear on about what they can and cannot do. They cannot go out and cause problems during the day before curfew. They can't be wandering around here damaging property or using drugs. So as long as I'm not seeing security reports increase, like we get security reports on everything. So every vacancy, our security is required to write up a report and send it to us. So that's usually what I'm going to do first thing in the morning when we go there is to go through security reports to see what happened. So that would be my answer, Doug. I don't know if you have an answer.
No, I think that's right. We monitor the incident reports. The state's also providing some oversight and monitoring to make sure that we're compliant with what we said we would do.
Part of that is things like trash pickup, which we already do. So interestingly enough, I have our first site visit with the state oversight tomorrow morning. So we'll do a perimeter walk. We'll make sure that the trash is being picked up and the dumpsters aren't overflowing. We'll look and make sure that we don't have people just eating on our property. So those sorts of things.
So they'll just check to see if they're hanging out not on the gateway buffer thing. They're not going to check that to see if they're hanging out there.
The state's not going to. We still do the 3 times a week check. We still have an employee goes to the 3 times a week at camp calls that Denise is actually a part of. So they're making sure that half-mile buffer is, if it's growing, then we ask for more resources to reach that half-mile.
Thank you.
So Jen, 100 people come in 10 or 11 hours, they're warm. Then when they leave, that's transportation provided. But what if 50 of them saying, I want to go visit Wally? You know, I mean, this is what we're getting at. This is what we're getting at.
I get it.
You know, are they going to cluster around Sierra Hills, Auckland, and Elmer Homestead, South San Pedro? What's your experience been?
So based on the experience we had last year, so we would have conversations when they would come in, we would explain the rules. I would call it a sleeping sign. I learned very quickly that if you did not dim the lights, they thought there was some of them that would just stay up all night. You know, because I don't know. So
Sleep over.
yeah, it's where the kids didn't ever go to sleep. So
we would cut, we'd have very clear conversations. ACS is having that conversation in the vans when they're coming, so they hear it multiple times. So by the time they get here, we'll welcome them in, come in, get warm, we've got coffee, we've got soup. There's restrooms over here. This is a sleeping center. We've dimmed the lights. We're gonna ask you to keep it quiet, almost like a library setting. In the morning, we're gonna wake you up at 7 a.m. And we're gonna transfer you out at 8 a.m. and here's your choices of where you get to go to. Most of them would take it. It was still pretty cold in the mornings that they wanted to go to the Rock or they wanted to go to healthcare for them. Plus they weren't wanting to wander property. So.
I know it's getting late, but, what is this two-story building that you were talking about over? Sure what?
It's over this way, so it's catty corner from where we're sitting right now.
Yeah,
Do you know where the old Ridge Crest used to be, where the VA fence line sits?
yes, I do.
Yeah, so there's an outbuilding at this corner that Vision Santofa leases from the city. And the first floor is vacant, so that's where we'll do it.
So,
The old HR building, John,
The old what?
the old HR building for the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that on
It's a
San Pedro?
substantial.
No, it's on this campus.
Ridgecrest behind them.
Yeah, it's on the campus, and if you're familiar where ACS has their parking, we put that fence out there in the middle of the parking lot. It's adjacent to that, and it's right behind and next to our cogeneration plant. So where you see all of our boilers and our chill and all that stuff, it's kind of near there. So,
How many people can you accommodate there?
we're planning on about 35
What beds or?
cots. Yeah.
35 men and 35 women.
Total men and women,
And keep in mind, we've added almost 300 beds at this location that we did not have access to last winter. So about 335. We are at the 35 that we'll do for emergency overflow. So. Okay, we went over time, Maria will be so disappointed in me. Do not tell her. What would you guys like to hear about next month? So next month, we're gonna run our meeting a week earlier than usual because of Thanksgiving holiday. So that you all can join me at Gateway West for Thanksgiving dinner. But what would you guys like to hear about next month?
Security,
For this facility?
Yeah.
Okay.
that's what I was.
I'd like to hear about who in the city is working on ending homelessness. And if you could, I'd like to give you a number, I'd like to get one with the mayor. Want to see who in the city is working on ending homelessness. Everybody managing it, managing it. I want to know who's working on ending it in 5 years.
The mayor, the Department of Health, Housing and Homelessness.
And so who's
ACS?
part of that now? The mayor, who took Maria's place?
No one yet. We're hiring for her position. Huh?
I'll apply for that position. Then homelessness,
We've closed
not
it.
managing.
We closed it.
I figured you did.
We're doing interviews and we have.
So the meeting will be on the 20th.
Yeah.
Okay. And you'll send out.
Oh, I signed that, because I'm trying to, like a couple meetings ago, they were supposed to come.
Oh, yeah, they didn't come.
First, it was supposed to go.